Hey, I'm Fatima Thomas, Senior National Artist at MAC Cosmetics, and in my role, I travel around the world working backstage as well as on set. One of the most important skills I need to have as a makeup artist is knowing how to create flawless skin. So I want to share with you my process for doing just that. When you're creating flawless skin, start preparing the skin with the end result in mind. So if you want a more satiny, glowing skin, prepare the skin with skincare that's going to yield that along with your foundation, and vice versa for a more matte skin. I find that you might need to exfoliate the skin because if it's flaky and dry, you can't really apply makeup over it and not have that evident. If you need a gentle exfoliation, you can do that with Fix Plus on a cotton pad and gently let the cotton exfoliate the skin like so. I'm going to go for a more mattified center of the face using Prep and Prime Skin Refine Zone, which is an amazing mattifying primer slash serum. Take a small amount on a dual fiber brush, right in those areas where you can get hot spots. Deeper skin tones, we show off shine more than lighter skin tones. On the sides of the face, I want a different texture. So I'm going to go in with Natural Radiance. This comes in two shades, pink and yellow. I'm going to use pink, and you see it gives this beautiful radiant glow. Let's put a little on the brow bone. So we're beginning to see the variety of finishes I want in this look starting to happen. And we're going to mimic it as we build on top of foundations. So my next step, now that she's moisturized and primed, I want to go in and start building coverage. And to get the most beautiful, flawless skin, I think requires you to use more than one color. Now, it's always great in a hurry for grooming yourself if you've got one color that works overall. I like to use 2 to 3. This is Studio Fix Soft Matte Stick Foundation, NC55, just in the center of the face. Overall, she's more of a cool brown, cool golden brown. The areas that I want to highlight are where I'm going to place this color. She has a cool undertone here that I'm going to go in with NC60. And I'm going to stay shy of her jawline and the edge of her face at the hairline, because when I start to blend, I will move the product out in that direction. And because I want to add just a little more warmth to counterbalance all of the coolness in her skin, I'm going to go in with NW55, and in areas that I decide maybe I want to warm her up where she's not naturally so warm. Now that everything's placed, I can start blending. I'm going to work in a sunburst pattern. I like to start in the center with a lighter color and get the upper lids, because you may want to do eyeshadow later, and that just begins to give you a nice base for your eyeshadow. And then I like to finish by going out and back. And that's because most of us might have a little fuzz on our faces, and you want to make sure that when you're done blending, you lay down that natural fuzz. And this is brush 130. The short bristles make it a bit more bossy. You want a brush that's firm enough that really gets in here and moves the product around. Keep in mind that with this new stick foundation, it's got a great wearability, which means it sets. That means you don't have a very extended playtime to blend it. In other words, don't put it on and turn around and talk to somebody for 10 minutes and then try to go in and blend it. And if you do have it set a little too long and it won't move, a trick is to warm up your brush with a bit of moisturizer and then go in and boss that foundation around. When someone's going on camera, naked skin photographs differently than skin with pigment or makeup on it. So it's a really good idea to do some foundation on the ears. And then I like to pull a little down. Pigment particles reflect light, whereas bare skin absorbs light. I do want to go in and reinforce the mattifying that I did earlier. This time I'm going to use Fix Plus Matte Spray. And going back to that brush that I used earlier, the 132S, I'm going to go for spraying it on the brush, or you can use a beauty blender. It's also not a bad idea to take a clean brush that's dry and finesse that to control the finish of that foundation. This is one of my favorite powders. It's called blot powder. It's essentially little to no pigment and all absorption. And I press it in using brush 168. I like that this brush has a slant because it just hugs the contours and planes of the face nicely. Another important part of creating flawless skin is adding dimension. I'm using our Studio Fix Sculpt and Shape Contour Palette, and I'm going to use these shades, these two deepest shades, on my 168 again. It's a very nice brush for contouring because again, that angle hugs. And I like to aim for the tragus. That's that little bump on the ear that lines up anatomically with your jaw hinge, which is usually a very good place to start placing contour. I have a saying that contouring is not one size fits all. Contouring should enhance and beautify your own or your client's own unique set of proportions. So with that said, pay attention to the space between your brow and your hairline. If you've got a lot of space, like Kayla and I, you can put a bit of contour across the forehead. If your hairline's a bit lower, you might want to step away from contouring your forehead and just focus on your cheeks. She's got a really beautifully sculpted jawline, whereas I am a bit rounder and softer there, and I benefit from a bit of contour. So I'm not gonna overdo it. It's about knowing what not to do as well as what to do. When I'm contouring the nose, that's when I am my most careful, because there's nothing worse than looking at someone and seeing a line. So it's important when you contour the nose to look at it from this side angle and then turn the person so you can see them from the front. The moment I start to see the product, that's when I've gone too far. So I've got enough there already to give dimension. I'm gonna put my palette away and just blend what product is here. When I want the nose to appear longer, I start my contour from the inner corner of the eyebrow and I go straight down. If I wanna sort of shorten the nose a bit or play with those proportions, I bring it up into the socket. So you can play with these proportions to see what's most flattering. If you wanna shorten the lower portion of the nose, you can also bring a bit of contour here. My last area where I'll tuck a little contour is, of course, right in the socket. Now I'm gonna have you look forward, Kayla. If you do, the brush falls right into the space between the eyeball and the brow bone, and that is your natural socket or crease. That's a great place to go in and start to build some initial contour even before you do eye makeup. I find that if I'm working and the face is moving a lot, that my pressure's too heavy. You get better blending when your brush can glide across the surface of the skin without yielding too much movement in the face. So there we have it, a beautiful, flawless, dimensional skin that would work great on camera, on video, red carpet, and in real life. I'm Fatima Thomas, and thanks for joining me and Kayla.